How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to talk to you about how Harvard evaluates its applicants. So, some of you may not know this, but Harvard got sued a couple of years ago regarding its admission policies. And because of that, they had to release a lot of information to the public. So today, we're going to break it down for y'all and tell you exactly what Harvard looks for in its applicants.
So Harvard actually evaluates candidates on 5 main categories: academic, extracurricular, personal, athletic, and an overall rating. So across these different categories, admissions officers will provide ratings of 1 to 6, 1 being the best and 6 being the worst. And for a more nuanced rating, they could add a plus or a minus, like a 2 plus versus a 2 minus. But it should be noted that a 2 plus and a 2 minus are very different ratings, and we'll get into that later. But first up, we'll look at academics. So one of the main categories is academics. And this includes your GPA, your test scores, AP exams, your course rigor, and your academic experiences outside of the classroom. So this is how the rating goes. An academic rating of 1 entails a potential major academic contributor, summa potential, genuine scholar, near perfect scores and grades. In most cases, it's combined with unusual creativity and evidence of original scholarship. So, through your own research, academic competitions, and you want international or national level recognition to get a 1. An academic rating of 2 entails an excellent student with top grades and test scores. This means SAT and SAT subject test scores should be mid 700 and up, or in terms of ACT, 33 and above. And along with this, you need possible local, regional, or national level recognition in academic competitions or academic interest outside the school. An academic rating of 3 entails solid academic potential. It's a very good student with excellent grades and test scores. The SAT and SAT subject test scores are mid 600, low 700. ACT is between a 29 to a 32. An academic rating of 4 implies adequate preparation. These are the students with respectable grades and low to mid 600 scores on the SAT and subject tests, or 26 to 29 ACT. An academic rating of 5 implies marginal potential. These are the students with modest grades and 500 scores on the SAT and SAT subject tests, or 25 and below on the ACT. And an academic rating of 6 implies achievement or motivation is marginal or worse. As you can see, getting a 1 is not easy. You could have the perfect GPA, be valedictorian, have perfect SAT scores, and that's not enough to get you a 1. In actuality, only 0.5% of applicants get a 1, and 42% of applicants get a 2. So don't fret too much about trying to get a 1. Just keep up those grades, study for the SAT, and you'll be fine. And now we'll talk about extracurricular activities.
So aside from academics, the extracurriculars are also really important because, as Mahad said, just having a perfect SAT score and really good GPA sometimes might not be enough. So making sure to get your extracurriculars on point is really important. So to get a 1 in extracurriculars, you need to have unusual strength in 1 or more areas. So this could be through possible national level achievement or professional experience of some kind. Such a person would be a potential major contributor at Harvard, and they have achieved something truly unusual. To get a 2, you need to have a strong high school contribution in 1 or more areas. This could be by being the class president, a newspaper editor, concert master, or something along those lines, or some significant involvement in an organization outside of school. This could include possible local or regional recognition and major accomplishments that have had an impact outside of the classroom. Note that this can also include term time work or family responsibilities that are coupled with extracurricular engagement. Alright, to get a 3, you must have had solid participation in extracurriculars, but without a special distinction. So this could be, you were a member of some clubs in high school, but no real standout character. And 4, little or no participation. Individuals who score a 5 will have had a substantial commitment outside of conventional extracurricular participation. This could be through family obligations, term time work, or a significant commute. Lastly, those with a 6 have special circumstances that limit or prevent participation in extracurriculars. So this could be through a physical condition, gap years, or a compulsory service of some kind. So just like academics, getting a 1 is extremely difficult. Only 0.3% of applicants secure a 1 in the extracurricular department, and 24% of applicants are able to get a 2. Now, one thing that's really important to note is that in this category, it does encapsulate things like term time work and family responsibilities. And getting a 5 or a 6 isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you're a bit different from the traditional extracurriculars that other students may be doing. So now we're going to talk about athletics. As you can see, I probably didn't do too well.
So, Harvard's a D1 school, so obviously we care about our athletics. We have our own category for athletics in our rating system, so we'll dive right into that. To get an athletic rating of 1, you need to be a strong prospect for varsity sports at Harvard. You need to be desired by Harvard coaches, or you need recognition for individual athletic achievements or championships at the national, international, or Olympic level. An athletic rating of 2 implies strong and long-standing 3 to 4 years of secondary school and or tribal team contribution in one or more sports. You should have leadership roles such as captain or co-captain and possible individual recognition at the state or regional level. These are the students who could possibly walk on to a Harvard sports team. Students with an athletic rating of 3 have active participation and possibly some leadership and or recognition for individual accomplishments at the local or conference level. An athletic rating of 4 implies little or no participation, but this is not a negative. Students with an athletic rating of 5 have a substantial commitment outside of the conventional extracurricular activities, such as family obligations or term time work. Students with an athletic rating of 6 have a physical condition or other special circumstances that prevent significant athletic activity. So once again, getting a 1 or even a 2 is extremely difficult, with only 0.9% of applicants getting a 1 and only 9% of applicants getting a 2. So, if you're a classic cross-country runner like me in high school who ran a 22-minute 5K, you're not going to get a 1 or a 2. That's reserved for the recruited athletes, the Olympic athletes, or the potential walk-ons. But, you might be able to get a 3 or even a 3+, and in this case, that's good enough. But something else that's really important is the personal rating, which we'll get into right now.
So the personal category is where you can really share a lot about who you are. So this shines through in your essays and in your recommendations. One thing that's important to note about the personal category is that it can really help you stand out if, let's say, your grades aren't there or maybe you didn't do too many extracurriculars. Harvard is looking to admit individuals who are kind, compassionate, and care about the world and others around them. They're looking for individuals who are going to be leaders and who are going to change not only the campus, but the world around them. So let's take a closer look at the different ratings in the personal category. To get a 1 in the personal category, you need to have truly outstanding qualities of character. Students may display enormous courage in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles in life. They might demonstrate a singular ability to lead or inspire those around them. They might exhibit extraordinary concern or compassion for others, and they receive unqualified and unwavering support from their recommenders. For a 2, you need to have very strong qualities of character. You may demonstrate strong leadership, a level of maturity beyond your years, exhibit uncommon genuineness, selflessness, or humility in your dealings with others, or possess strong resiliency and also have very strong support from your recommenders. For the personal category, it is important to distinguish between a 3 and a 3+, because those are quite different. For a 3+, you need to have above average qualities of character, demonstrate leadership, exhibit commitment, good judgment, and positive citizenship, exercise a spirit and camaraderie with peers, and receive positive support from your recommenders. Now, a 3 must be generally positive and perhaps somewhat neutral qualities of character. Now, individuals that are grouped into categories 4, 5, and 6 will have had questionable or worrisome qualities of character. Less than 0.01% of applicants get a 1 in the personal category, and only 20.8% of applicants get a 2. One thing that's important to note is that you don't need to be an extrovert to get a good personality score. As long as you display thoughtfulness in your essays and demonstrate your character and kindness and compassion in the activities that you do, you should be all set. Now I'm going to pass it to Mahad, who's going to talk about the overall rating.
So Harvard also provides an overall rating for the candidate. So it's kind of like a culmination of all 4 category ratings, but it is important to note that it is not the average of all 4 ratings. It's more of an independent judgment call by the admissions officer, and we'll look at what each rating means here.
So a rating of 1 in the overall category means you're a top candidate for admission. You're exceptional, a clear admit with very strong objective and subjective support. 2, you have very strong credentials, but not an inevitable admit. 3, you're a solid contender, an applicant with good credentials and support. 3- is somewhat neutral. You have respectable credentials. A 4 is neutral, generally respectable credentials. Anything above a 4 is a negative. Credentials are generally below those of other candidates. There's some things that, just don't fit very cleanly into some of these categories, right? And so the overall category is there for the reader to kind of evaluate you holistically, to be able to depict what they think about you and how you really fit at Harvard.
You know, what's also super interesting is the fact that if you get a 1 in any category, your chances for admissions skyrocket. If you get a 1 in academic rating and no other ones, you have a 68% chance of admission. And if you get a 1 in extracurricular and no other ones, you have a 48% chance of admission.
If you get a 1 in the personal category and no other ones, you end up with a 66% chance of admission. And if you get a 1 in athletics and no other ones, you have an 88% chance of admission, which I think is pretty crazy.
So your best shot at Harvard is becoming a varsity athlete at this point.
No, it's not just a varsity. To get a 1 on something, you have to be really
Olympic level, gold medal type.
Yeah.
No.
So don't think just because you're quarterback for your high school team,
yeah.
You're 1 on.
Gotta do a little better than that.
Yeah.
But even then, if you get no 1s and you manage to get 3 2s and maybe a 3, your chance of admission is 43%. And if somehow you manage to scrape away 4 2s, that jumps up to 68%.
Now, if you get no 1s or 2s, chances of getting into Harvard are slim, but they're still there.
What's the number?
If you get no 1s or 2s, you have a 0.1% chance of getting into Harvard. It's not as high as some of the others, but there's a chance. I always like to think that, where there's a chance, there's the possibility that you can obtain that chance, because that's how chance works. So good luck.